Audio Jungle.
To Daily Motion and Instagram, give us a thumbs up because I appreciate it. Now here is the sports of the day coming from the Wall Street Journal. Of course, Boston Red Sox owner Fenway Sports in talks to buy Pittsburgh Penguins. That's a tongue twister. Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, the deal for the NHL franchise. If you guys don't know, the Pittsburgh Penguins is part of the NHL, the National Hockey League. Franchises could be finalized later this week. Of course, the Fenway Sports Group LLC, the holding company, of course, that owns the Red Sox, Boston Red Sox, that is in advanced talks to buy the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey team, according to the people familiar with the matter. Of course, a deal could be finalized later this week. So they're really getting into it. They're getting into buying this sports team. And that's one of the things that a lot of holding companies, because believe it or not, K.L.P. Entertainment, we are a holdings company. We own a lot of mini studios here in Atlanta. We own a lot of assets and acquisitions. We don't own a sports team. We just ain't got the budget to own a sports team. Could you imagine if we did own a sports team? That would be really, really swanky, but we don't own a sports team. But there's a lot of money that goes into owning a sports team, because now you're carrying on the brand, you're carrying on that brand logo, you're taking care of the players, making sure they get paid. It's quite exciting. It's one of those things where it's going to cost a lot of money for the holdings company, but I'm sure they got the money. They got the money in the bag. But very, very exciting for this, because it's one of those things where you have this acquisitions team, this LLC, this holding company looking to buy this buy this team later on this week. And it blows my mind. It really does. Assuming the talk didn't fall apart, the people say terms being discussed could not be learned. Of course, the Pittsburgh Penguins since 1999 had been owned by former National Hockey League star Mario Lemieux, if I pronounce the last name right, give me a thumbs up, who played for the Penguins for years, and investor Ron Burkle, they bought the team out of bankruptcy. See, and that's another thing. It's a lot of business talk for you guys. If you are looking for one of those things where you buy the team where they're in bankruptcy. I know that sounds bad, but when you buy something out of bankruptcy, the price is not as much as what it's worth. So it might be worth $4 million, but you might spill out $2.5 million for it, kind of a discount rate. So it's always good to buy things. It sounds rough, but when you buy things out of bankruptcy, then of course they kind of have a discounted deal there. So they bought the team out of bankruptcy and brought it back to health. Of course, the Penguins leadership is expected to remain in place, with Lemieux would retain the ownership stake. A person familiar with the matter said. Of course, Fenway Sports Group, controlled by investor John Henry, also owns the English soccer team Liverpool Football Club. So that's pretty cool. John Henry owns the English soccer team Liverpool Football Club. That's an exclusive club, by the way. If you guys don't, and I'm a soccer fan too. I dabble in my FIFA, and I know about it. Liverpool is a great team. Not better than the Atlanta United team, though. But and a piece of the NASCAR team. Of course, John Henry is making that money. He has been open and wanting to add to his portfolio and develop and launch a new business into this hockey stardom here. Earlier this year, investment from Redbird Capital Partners agreed to invest $750 million in Fenway at valuation roughly of $7.35 billion. This is a lot. This ain't no chump change. This is a lot of money that they're wanting to invest in this team in exchange for about 11% ownership stake into this deal. The deal came together after talks of a blank check company backed up by Redbird to merge with Fenway, of course, fell apart within that. Basketball star LeBron James had also made an investment in Fenway at the time. Shout out to LeBron James. I doubt that he's watching the show here, but shout out to him. Fenway's other holdings included the controlling stake of the New England Sports Network, a regional sports network that airs Red Sox games, and Fenway Park, the team stadium since 1912. Of course, Fenway is pretty good too because, that's Boston. That it kind of relates to kind of Family Guy a little bit because, you'll hear in some of the episodes of Family Guy, oh, they're going to Fenway Park. So I'm a Family Guy guy. I'm sorry. The Penguins are one of the National Hockey League's most iconic, successful expansion franchises. Of course, having won 5 Stanley Cups since joining the league in 1967. Pittsburgh was founded a winning formula in signing star players young, such as Mr. Luminance, who was young, with a former Canadian teenage phenomenon, Sidney Crosby, that also played for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So very, very excited for this deal. They have a lot of things racked up for this deal. I hope this deal goes through because now they're rebranding it out a little bit. It's always good for change. That's kind of our motto here for the show today. We've changed a lot of things when it comes to our radio stations and then our setup here. Change is good. Sometimes change is bad, but sometimes this is one of those things that change is fantastic. And this will be a great change for the Pittsburgh Penguins, the National Hockey League. So I'm all for it. Best of luck to them in their investments. And of course, we'll update you guys on later updates to see if and when the deal has gone through. So that's going to wrap it up here on today's show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's show. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching the video version of this podcast, available on YouTube and Daily Motion, and of course, Sports at HD on Instagram as well. And also, if you're listening to the podcast live from Emory, of course, we ask you guys to share this podcast with your friends, your families, and for my students here for Emory, if you're listening to us, share with your other classmates, letting you guys know that there is an Emory radio station now, but also there is a guy doing a podcast about Emory and more stuff here in Atlanta. So that's going to wrap it up here on today's show. Please remember to like us again. And as always, I like to say, stay safe and stay swanky.
Audio Jungle.